You ever have one of those moments where the universe just lines up and hands you front row tickets to the wildest show in suburbia? Yeah, that was me, standing on my cracked driveway at exactly 3:12 p.m. on a Saturday, squinting into the sun as a forklift carefully lowered a 12 by 6 shipping container onto my land right there for everybody to see. It wasn't even subtle. The thing had "Private Workshop Do Not Touch" stamped in bold black letters across the side like it was daring anyone to try. I swear you could have heard a pin drop on Maple Ridge Court if it weren't for my neighbor Patricia's wine glass exploding on the porch. Folks started popping out on their stoops, half of them with phones pointed my way, narrating like it was some kind of live reality show. One lady, Mrs. Davenport, I think, actually gasped real loud, the kind of sound that makes you check your own zipper just in case. But nobody was more worked up than Patricia Hartwell, president of the HOA and the self-appointed queen of our little suburban kingdom. I watched her drop that glass of Pinot in slow motion, the crystals shattering on her perfect concrete porch, while her face turned beet red. No kidding, the kind of red you see in ER shows. She jabbed a finger at my new container, shaking so bad you'd think I'd just parked a spaceship on her begonias, and hissed, "This is an act of war." Whole neighborhood went silent. I'm telling you, if that woman could have summoned a SWAT team with her mind, she would have. So let me back up a sec, because if you're going to understand how things got that wild, you need the whole story. My name's Marcus Chin. I'm 42, a software engineer by trade, and when I moved out to Maple Ridge Estates, all I wanted was some peace, a spot for my woodworking hobby, and most importantly, not to bother anybody. See, I went out of my way to find a rare double lot. House on 23A, part of the HOA, sure. But that empty chunk next door, 23B, not in the HOA. Never was, never would be, at least according to every city record and closing document I triple-checked. I had dreams for that second lot, a real workshop, just a quiet little sanctuary for sawdust, late-night tinkering, all that good stuff. Except, of course, there's always one person in every neighborhood who thinks your business is their full-time job. Patricia Hartwell showed up at my door not 2 days after I moved in, dressed for a board meeting in the middle of a heatwave khakis pressed blazer on makeup, so perfect you could see the contour from my mailbox. She hands me this welcome tray of cookies, still in the grocery store, packaging, plastic and all, in a folder so thick it could have stopped a bullet. Inside 14 pages of suggested improvements for my house, complete with diagrams and vendor quotes, all in color-coded glory. From that moment, it was like living under HOA martial law. Every other day, I'd find a little note taped to my door. Day 10. Grass 125 inches above regulation. Please address immediately. Day 14. Your recycling bin was visible from the sidewalk for 22 minutes past pickup. I mean, who times this stuff? By week 3, Patricia was walking by 4 times a day, phone out, pretending to take calls while actually filming my driveway like it was a crime scene. She even carried a leather-bound journal, no joke, where she'd scribble things while shooting me dirty looks over her sunglasses. But here's where it gets real spicy. Patricia started spreading rumors first to the Johnsons, whispering about how my workshop was actually a 5G tower. Then she tells the neighborhood watch I'm building a bomb shelter without evacuation plans. Before long, there's a petition floating around about how my invisible future shed is going to tank everybody's property values by 30%. Of course, nobody actually saw any evidence. Why let facts get in the way of a little suburban hysteria? Then comes a cease and desist letter from the HOA legal committee. Turns out that's just her cousin Derek, who got kicked out of paralegal school for, wait for it, creative interpretations of precedent. And as if that wasn't enough, Patricia starts documenting every delivery to my house, putting together spreadsheets of truck arrivals, lumber drop-offs, and whatever else she can imagine, all for the monthly HOA meetings, which she still runs despite supposedly being emeritus. But you want to hear about her fatal mistake? It wasn't the notes or the rumors or even the spreadsheet. Nope. Patricia, after a little too much wine at book club, decides to file a formal complaint accusing me of endangering kids with construction equipment and being a menace to the community. She sends it to the city, the county, even the state attorney general. Thing is, she files it under Lot 23A, where my house sits inside the HOA, but all the supposed mayhem is happening on 23B, the one not under her thumb where every permit is stamped, signed, and city approved. So 3 days later, the city inspector, a no-nonsense woman named Janet Rodriguez, shows up, clipboard in hand, walks the whole line with survey gear, reviews the paperwork twice. Patricia's posted up on her porch, arms folded, smirk on full display, waiting for the spectacle. Instead, Janet gives her this look, equal parts tired mom and annoyed cop, and says, "Ma'am, this is not your jurisdiction. Also, filing false reports is a criminal offense." The air went out of Patricia like a popped pool float. That was the day the power dynamic shifted big time. That's when I stopped playing defense. I got motion-triggered floodlights installed, aimed real careful all inside my lot. But they lit up every time somebody tried to snoop after dark. Added some wind chimes tuned just off enough to make anyone walking by wonder if they were losing their mind. Even put up a mailbox at the corner of 23B shaped like a medieval cannon with a plaque reading "Official correspondence only, no HOA business. Petty maybe, satisfying you bet." Meanwhile, I started collecting my own evidence. Cameras caught Patricia leaning over my fence 17 times with a tape measure. Caught her spraying something, pretty sure it was herbicide, on my grass and trying to yank up my survey markers. My attorney, who lives for HOA fights, went full attack dog. Cease and desist letters went out to Patricia, the board, and cousin Derek, all by certified mail with all the legal bells and whistles. 2 weeks later, Patricia gets a letter straightforward, lawyer style: leave 23B alone or get hit with a restraining order, a civil suit for harassment and trespassing, and maybe even criminal charges for filing false reports. Derek gets his own warning for pretending to practice law. I hear he spent the next week stress-baking banana bread. At the next HOA meeting, held as always in Patricia's sunroom, surrounded by those creepy porcelain angels, she tries to put on one last show. She's got a 40-slide presentation called "The Menace Next Door." Problem is, I'd already sent all the board members the city report, the security footage, the legal timeline. The real twist, though, was Denise from Lot 8, Patricia's old Christmas light nemesis, live streaming the whole meeting to Facebook. That's right, the entire neighborhood and half the internet watched as Patricia, red-faced and sweating, tried to explain why she called my place a meth lab in official emails and spent HOA money on her cousin's legal services. Then, God bless technology, she accidentally shared her laptop screen revealing notes like, "Must destroy him before he destroys our paradise, and consider hiring PI check if legal." Instant viral gold. Local news picked it up. Next thing you know, the state bar is sniffing around Derek. The city prosecutor opens a case on Patricia, and the HOA's insurance says, "Yeah, we're not covering any of this." Emergency board meeting gets called. Patricia shows up in her lucky pantsuit, armed for battle, but it's over before it starts. Unanimous vote 7-0, she's out pending a psych evaluation and anger management classes. Then the city prosecutor drops the hammer, 3 criminal counts for filing false reports, each with jail time and hefty fines. Watching Patricia's jaw drop, her face cycling from red to purple to paper white as her 23-year reign ended in public humiliation. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little bit satisfying. But here's the thing. Justice isn't always about courtroom victories or viral videos. Sometimes it's about standing your ground and letting the truth do the talking. Now, every time I walk past that spot where her wine glass shattered, I wonder, was I too harsh? Or did she finally get what she deserved? So let me ask you, what would you have done? Where's the line between defending your rights and becoming the neighborhood villain? Drop a comment, share your own war stories, and let's settle this. Because out here in suburbia, justice is a team sport, is a